It's DJ Slider Bite back with another edition of the Slider Cast. This is an open source podcast. I always say it. Let me check my desktop right now. See what we got going on. Yes, bitch. This is the all open source podcast. This one. Yes. So yeah, I might put a little asterisk by it, even though I'm gonna get tired doing that. But you know, DJ Slider Bite is open source, so this is all Linux. Even though this pod roadcaster doesn't cooperate with my Linux thing, but that's what we got going on. And I got another comedy special guest in here. He's been hitting up the open mic circuit, tearing it up in Chicago. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody that always, you know, all the people all around the world. Gregory Howe. Gregory Howe.
Hello, man. Good to be on a podcast. This is the first podcast I've ever been featured on.
Hell yeah. All right. Yeah, he said this is his first podcast. It's funny. Is this one? I don't know how this
one, man. Let's make it a blow.
Yeah, we're working on getting everything. Of course we got the audio, but we're drinking fancy ass wine.
Nice little chablis.
Yeah, out of big ass glasses and stuff. Like we're doing it big. We're doing it very nice out here on this Chicago afternoon. And so yeah, just a little backstory, because you said you've been in Chicago for 3 years.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
I just literally just started seeing you on the scene maybe a couple months ago.
That's right. Yeah. So yeah, I've been living in Chicago for 3 years now, and I just came here to bartend in like Michelin star restaurants, you know.
Okay. Why specifically Michelin star? You weren't just like, I want to make money.
Yeah,
you were like, I want to be in a Michelin star.
It was something more than money. It was more of like you wanna kind of be the best, and like if you wanna, and when you work, especially like in front of house as a bartender at an upscale place, you really don't get paid a lot. You would think you would, but you don't. You know, there's a lot to know, but it's a lot of different technicalities.
That's funny you said you don't get paid a lot. I know a lot of bartenders that seem like they're rich.
Absolutely, yes, and that depends on where you work. You're not going to get rich bartending at a Michelin star restaurant. I'm going to tell you that right now.
No, okay. Well, I see what you're saying then. Yeah, but if you were like,
if you want to make the money, you got to work at somewhere where like a sports bar, where they're like, they got a bunch of TVs and they're just like cracking Bud Lights and pouring shots of Jameson. That's where you make your money, and that's where bartenders thrive. And it's like, but that's and that's good for a lot of reasons. If you're trying to make some money and like, support yourself, or like have a disposable income and work seasonally, hell yeah, man, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
But no, like working in like Michelin, working in like an upscale place like that, that's more of like a career, not just like a quick money grab,
Yeah, usually at the Michelin star places, and then for the people listening that don't know, Michelin star is like a very high accredited award that restaurants could win. I would say, I always tell people it's like maybe like an Oscar or a Grammy. If your restaurant could win an Oscar, like an award like that, it's an Oscar or a Grammy. Like it's nationally recognized.
Prestige of a restaurant.
Yeah, it's nationally recognized. It's not like you're
globally.
It's not like or global. Yes, globally. Yeah, it's not like we're the best in North Carolina. Like no, it's like everybody knows about you from all over the world. And so yeah, when you work at a restaurant like that, you do learn a lot of technique. They're doing a whole bunch of special stuff. And sometimes you don't make big money like that, which is kind of annoying. Yeah, right now I'm at that. I want to work somewhere where I can make some money. I need to work 2 days a week and then support comedy. That's kind of where I'm at.
Hey man, I'm right there with you. It is not the season to do that. Let me tell you.
No.
I am like bartending as far as like a way to earn money, and as just a career profession. That's all I got, man. And I've been doing this long enough to know that February, yeah, not a good time for bars, restaurants, man. It's post-holidays. Everybody's all spent out from the fucking holidays, and, just hanging in the house.
Yeah, no, people are hanging in the house. Oh, yeah, I'm going live. I just want to show some people. Are you on there? Can you see yourself?
I'm there, man.
Yeah, you're there. All right. It's nobody cares. I'm going to get like 2 people to look at this, but hopefully you can rewatch this, and then you can see how it went down and how it's going down.
I'm there.
Damn, people can see kind of the setup. I got like the blue screen and everything. Like it's
Oh, it's totally amateur, man.
We're
making it happen.
Or really, yeah, I mean, or really, it's not even it's only amateur because you don't see the effects. When you see other people's shit, they got the same shit. It's just mine's gonna be a little bit better though. I know.
It's very
But yeah, no, it looks very very DIY-ish.
Retro.
It's DIY-ish. Very very put it yourself together.
It's like let's make it happen. Like, we're gonna make this happen. We're gonna put some wheels. We're gonna put some fucking wheels on a board, and we're gonna roll.
Yeah, that's
it.
yes, exactly. And that's and then a lot of people use the green screen. That's I'm trying to use the blue screen and just have something different. I don't know if you know about that. You know, you can use people use in Hollywood they use blue screen, green screen, and pink screen.
What's the pink screen like?
No, you can. It depends on what the color.
It's all the same shit, right?
No, yeah, it's all the same shit because it's just you just tell the camera. You basically tell the camera or the software in the camera that anything that you see is blue is gonna be outer space. Like say we're shooting an outer space movie.
Yeah.
So then you make it say anything that's blue is supposed to be outer space background, or green when it's a green screen. Anything is green, outer space. They choose those colors because normally people don't wear those colors. But if you're doing something specific with those colors, like say, you know, me and you got to have green outfits on because it's in the storyline where we have green jogging suits on. So then when it's a background, the background has to be another color. If the background's green, then you won't be able to see none of us.
They got to be blue, so then we're going to look just like the trees in the forest, man.
You get it. You get it now, right? Yeah. Or like, did you watch Game of Thrones?
I'm not a fan. I'm one of those that's 1% of the world that has never seen a single episode of Game of Thrones.
That's good though. I'm not hating on you. I'm not hating on that at all.
I hold myself very very high for that one.
I used to be like that too. I used to be anti-Thrones, and then I had a friend named Matt show me an episode where this guy got his hand cut off, and I was like, oh shit. And then I've been watching. I'm a fan, but they do one part where you know is
you can see that in the South for free.
Yeah, yeah.
Country, man, in the swamplands.
No, we can get to that, but I was gonna say in the Game of Thrones, you know, it was dragons.
Right.
So it was. I saw like the making of the episode with the dragons, and this episode's where they're riding the dragon, and then they have to grab to the back of the dragon to hold on.
Yeah,
and so, but obviously the dragon CGI.
Yeah.
And then when
that thing's not real. What the fuck, man?
No, I guess if they were in South Dakota or something. But then when they did the scenes where they specifically showed the one character grabbing onto the to the dinosaur scales.
Right.
They were painting his hands were blue, and then basically the dragon was a big ass green rock. It was a big green rock that they would get on and act like they're doing shit, but then when they had to like really grab on, they would paint their hands blue to grab onto the green shit. Yeah, and that's when to
break it.
Yeah, that was my first instance of like, oh shit, it's different colors. And then when I got into OBS and I saw that it is, and I was like, this is cool. And then I guess blue screen works better for people with dark hair or dark environments. Like if we were doing like some have you ever seen the first Incredible Hulk movie?
Yeah, with fucking Edward Norton.
Yeah, that's got a lot of criticism because if you notice it or watch it again, all the Incredible Hulk scenes are at night. So they don't show how bad the CGI is.
All right.
And so it's kind of like you can use blue screen and green. It's like easier to mask that up. And you have dark colors and you can have some janky ass special effects. But if everything's dark and then, you know, like Hulk hits stuff explodes.
Yeah, that shit,
you know what I'm saying?
My favorite little CGI thing is the original Predator. Like,
yeah, that should. Yeah, just how.
Funny. They just had some dude in the suit, just in the CGI suit, just run around and just scaring people.
Yeah, all they did was they just blended his suit. Made it seem like he was invisible. He just blended light. That's a funny concept, man. It's one of like I don't know where you're at as far as quote unquote conspiracy theories. I hate that term because
I love them, man. Lay them on me, man. It's one of my favorites.
No, but I really feel like that's some real shit that happened. I really feel like some army platoon really came up on, hey, every time we send the best of the best people to this part of the jungle, they end up getting fucked up. What's going on? And then they go there and it's just like, it's some kind of invisible man creature.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's really some shit like that. And then they had to give him a whole bunch of chickens or something to make him stop killing. Yeah, you know. Have you ever heard of, since you said you're into it, have you ever heard of this thing called Organism 46B? Have you ever heard of that?
I have not, actually.
Oh, it's that's what I'm gonna work on, having like a screen and I'm gonna show people. But it's basically the story, like how you brought up the Predator. It's basically the Predator. It was saying these Norwegian scientists or something like that were exploring in Antarctica, and they were in Antarctica, and it was supposed to be 4 of them. And then I guess at one point they looked behind them and it was 5 of them. It was only 4 of them at first. It was 5 of them, and then they were just like,
got an extra dude out of nowhere.
yeah. And then they said when they all looked at that person, he turned into some thing that had 6 arms and grabbed the person closest to him and ripped his head off.
Yeah.
This is a story people say.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Damn, bro.
Look, and I heard it more than just on TikTok.
Okay.
No, so yeah, I'm about to.
So a lot of people heard that story.
Yeah, people have heard it, and it was like, oh shit, I've never. And then, but like how I said, they'll take real life stuff and put it in the movies, because then the comedian that was talking about it, he was like, that's basically Predator, because they were saying they like the thing basically, I think he killed like 3 or 4 other scientists.
Yeah.
He didn't kill them all, but he killed most of them. And then they were saying that it was invisible. And then it said he had 6 arms and had a whole bunch of weapons. And then it said he spit some kind of goo or something, because they were in water. And if you were in like within 5 feet of the goo, it'll just paralyze you or some shit like that.
Oh, so it's over for you.
But you know how that?
If you hit the goo, it's over.
Yeah, it's something where you're just like paralyzed. You can't do anything.
Oh, dude, yeah.
But all those things sound like octopuses have the goo, or yeah, octopuses do that. But then they have.
Do octopuses do that?
Yeah, and I know some octopuses can change color as well.
Oh yeah, dude, they are the masters of camouflage. And that's not some octopuses. That's all octopuses.
Okay, see, all right. So
They're a species of themselves, man. I actually, speaking of conspiracy theories, so like I actually have my own little conspiracy theory that I thought of actually, because look, I'm a huge fan of the 1980s. Like, I'm obsessed with the 80s. Like, I wish this was like 1992 right now, and like, we just lived past the 80s.
Yeah, no, those were good times, man.
But yeah, man, like, but anyway, you know how and I'm a huge fan of punk rock, specifically from the era of the 1980s, when the whole like anarchist, like anti-government, when it was at its finest, when America was just under the crack siege. Like, that's my favorite time of fucking history.
Well, I mean, I like that. I don't like the crack siege part of it, but yeah, it was a fun time in America.
What was going on? It's the politics that was going on. It was not like and I mentioned that because I've had my time in the drugs, and I hear that was like the best when that was the prime of crack, crack cocaine. That was the.
Or
shit.
Do you mean when I think I kind of.
When you can get the butter. I'm stuttering on this a little bit.
No, or like I've heard other people talk about it back when it was cool to you. It was like before.
But Whitney Houston bashed it, man. She said it's cheap and whack.
No, it was that, but no, it was
But cocaine was the glamour drug, but
no, let me finish. Like people, a lot of people say people were it used to be popular to use crack cocaine until 1984. Like, a lot of older people say in 84, that's when you saw that it was bad. That's when you saw.
It's like the next level of freebasing. They would freebase cocaine first.
Yeah.
First.
Yes. Well, Richard Pryor, but I'm just saying, like, but how you said the highlight or whatever, when people thought it was
Robert
cool,
Howell.
you're just talking about anything before 84. Before 84 was when it got bad. And then I feel
that whole time there was a punk scene, a punk rock scene that was just like whole anti-American government. But at the same time, there was Michael Jackson, the biggest star in the world. Like, nobody shined brighter than Michael Jackson. He was going on world tours, and he just snuffed out everything. And I think Michael Jackson is like a poster Illuminati. Like, look at this shining star. Don't look at all this. Like, Michael Jackson was one big distraction.
Yeah, I can kind of see that.
That's my conspiracy theory.
Yeah, well, those are all entertainers.
Exactly.
But it's one of those things. As far as entertainment, it's a lot of people that aren't into all the music like that. Like, as huge as Michael Jackson was, I'm pretty sure it was a lot of people like, this ain't my shit.
They're not feeling it. But as far as like the mass population, like, he owned it.
Yeah, no, that's like Kim Kardashian.
Right.
Like, it's a lot of. We work with a lot of stupid ass bitches that if they were like Kim Kardashian and they didn't even finish it, they would have their attention. Where me and you would be like, I don't give a fuck. But yeah, if literally, literally, if you walked in at it, Kim Kardashian and didn't say anything, people would be like, what? Like, and I was like, no, I wouldn't. I don't give a fuck about that.
It's a household name.
In certain households, that's the one thing I like. I get you, but in certain households it is. In certain households it is not.
Why do people care so much about housewives?
I think it's just the people who don't have anything going on for themselves.
Yeah.
That's what I think. It's people, and it's no disrespect. It's some people that just want to work and then come home and then just turn their brain off. Like I remember people used to always say that, and I hated that term. Like I don't turn my fucking brain off. When you turn your brain off, you're dead.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
like that.
ADHD. I try. I try so hard to turn my brain off.
No, it's like you relax or you might watch a movie, but I don't like that turn my brain off shit. Like turn your fucking brain off. Well, you know when your brain turns off, it's not gonna come back on, right?
There's a better word for that.
You know, like
There's a better word for that. It's called meditate.
Yeah, I'm turning my brain off. Shit.
For the granola people out there.
You every
your brain off.
Yeah, and your organs are gonna shut down. Everything's gonna turn off, bitch. That's stupid.
Yeah, dude. What do you want to know? I love not thinking about nothing. That's a rare moment I get, and that's what I relate that to meditation. I'm not a meditator, but I find myself spacing out, and like you ever space out and you know you space out, but you don't like snap back into it.
Yeah, no, I do that sometimes.
Dude, I think that's like the best thing in the world, man. That's pure Zen right there.
Yeah.
But then, like whenever you snap back into it, man, all the shit you care about comes back to you, or the shit you don't care about, or the shit you don't want to forget. Everything just comes back to you, and then you got all right, back to reality. That's like a pure moment of like bliss. Just the zone out.
You want to just read that first paragraph real fast?
Let's hear it. All right, I don't read so good. All right.
You read so well. Yeah.
Creature, Southern education. Creature named Organism 46B was an aquatic creature believed to have been captured by a Russian science team near a research post Vostok station. Organism 46B is a giant 10-meter-long squid-like creature with 14 tentacles. That's two more than
14.
A squid. That lived in Lake Vostok, a sublogical lake under 2 miles of ice below Vostok Station in Antarctica. Man, I want to meet this gnarly squid.
And then it's just like, are they weaponizing it? Do they just have it? Is the thing like an alien where he's just like
something like that? I don't know. Is it intelligent? That's scary.
Yeah, no, it's all that it's but especially when they said one of the things said it turned into one of them, like it changed shapes to look like one of them.
That was the predator figure thing, man. Ooh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it like I feel like it is intelligent. Well, it's intelligent in a manner.
Intelligent enough.
Yeah, but he can
to fool 4 humans.
Yeah, but like not be.
Eat one.
But it's probably not intelligent like where someone's just like, hey, go attack those Russian ships, or just like like don't attack our ships, but if you see those other people, get them. You know what I mean? Like weaponize it like that.
He felt electromagnetic disturbance in his atmosphere because he's a fucking massive squid with 14 tentacles that can feel that. And he sends 4 humans, and he's just like, man, I'm pretty fucking hungry right now. And he just like, just snuck up on those humans, man. Got like put out his tentacles, man. Put out his tentacles at one eyeball and just fucking.
Yeah, I mean,
just like decoyed him and just snatched him up.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like fishing right there, baby.
Yeah, or I mean, you're assuming he was hungry, like you said.
Yeah,
he probably just wanted his space, like you said. He felt some shit, and it was like, no, I'm the only person down here ever.
That's his solitary space, man, and that's a massive animal. You know what I mean? Or
yeah,
whatever you want to.
That's the only thing I don't like about that's another. It's to me, it's not even a conspiracy. Smart people realize it. They don't teach Americans centimeters and all. Like how you said he was 10 meters or 10 centimeters. 10
meters.
10 meters. Isn't that? I feel like that's like
3 feet.
Yeah.
So that's like 30 feet long.
30 feet fucking long.
Roughly.
That's crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but
that's huge. That's yeah.
But my one thing, I don't know if you agree with this. They don't teach us that in America. So where when we go any other place in the world, we can't do anything. We can't build anything. Because like the even though some retarded people would disagree with me, but a man is supposed to be able to build stuff and build shelter and kind of take care of himself. And if you take us, as smart as we are in America, and you put us anywhere else in the world,
we just gotta use our own metrics.
But no, do you think? But like I'm saying, like a good job as a bricklayer or working a construction site or being a laborer, we can do those things right now because we're intelligent in America. We can't go to England and do that if they're measuring shit in stones and pounds. Do you get what I mean? We can't get a job as easy.
England's the stubborn ones. England is way more stubborn than the United States.
But do you understand that though? How we can't, when we go somewhere, we can't function like regular men function around the world.
I'm a bartender, and we use ounces in America America. If you go anywhere else, you got to use milliliters, and that conversion is a little confusing. It happens.
But to answer, you're still not answering the question. Can a bartender go be a good bartender in another country?
Absolutely.
Even if they're using you said we're measuring things in ounces.
Yeah.
So don't they have different measuring?
Milliliters, deciliters. Yeah. You just got a conversion. I don't know. I'm a fan of the metric system. Honestly, I'm a fan of the metric system. I think ounces, pounds, and not grams, but ounces and pounds. That's fucking stupid shit. Tons, like the fucking cares about a ton.
Yeah, no, that's my.
It makes the metric system makes so much more sense. Like, I think we did have a president that actually tried to convert us to the metric system, and we just were just not having it.
I don't want to say we because I would have been with it.
I say we because as a country, like, we make decisions as a whole. I'm all for the metric system. I think America could progress in many other ways, and switching over to the metric system is one of them.
Yeah, but like I said, to my point though, do you agree or disagree with this point? When you take an American male to another country, he can't do anything because he doesn't know the metric system.
I don't agree. If he doesn't know the metric system, then he's fucked.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, all right, there you go. It was very difficult. It was like you're from Florida. But no, it was like you were from Florida with that. It was just yes, a man can't go anywhere. He's customer service. He's doing jobs with other women.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just like to put myself in a position, and I don't really think of whenever I'm asked a question like that, I put myself in a position. I'm like, hey, I would, yeah, I'd do fine, yeah.
Yeah.
My apologies. That's how I answer questions.
No, that means I
do it for the first hand.
This is your first podcast, though. Yeah. I see that. You got to be on a news channel, you never thought about being on the Daily Show or.
Chin? It's got to be the chin.
No, I mean just anything like the Daily Show or like a correspondence channel where you're a correspondent. You never thought about that?
Never.
You do comedy. So what's your goal with comedy? You just what do you want to do?
I do eventually want to start a podcast, but I want to take it one step at a time. So my goal with comedy, I want to get really good at comedy. I want to get recognized as a comedian, and I want to start with doing shows, and then eventually probably within by the summertime, and start putting up content. Like when I feel comfortable enough with it myself and what I'm putting out to actually put up content on the internet. And that's I can put up content, start doing it tomorrow, but I just gotta pull the trigger on that.
Yeah. No, okay. I mean, but so your goal is just to get better with stand up and then eventually have a podcast.
Eventually have a podcast and take it as far as I can possibly take it. It's with me, it's like with bartending for me. I'm taking it just like bartending. So I started out when I started bartending. I didn't start out behind the bar. I started out in the kitchen working, just frying fish in a fucking fish and chips joint in Denver, and
No, so that's service industry. You weren't bartending yet until you start bartending.
Yeah, that's what was bartending. But you just kind of got to. But I was making drinks too. It's I would cook, and then I would take. It was doing it all. You did it all. You would cook. You'll be make drinks.
You'd be shaking up a martini and then keeping your eye on some
fried fish. It was more like a sidecar, but yeah.
No, okay.
And it was it was a really tight team, and we would rotate out. We would rotate out kitchen, then the front, and we would hit it all. And and we made good money too, and it was a lot of fun. But I had some disagreements with the owner, and that was that. And then I was still looking for that type of work. I liked the restaurant, and then I eventually found myself bar backing at the number 7 bar in the country at the time. And
what city was this in?
This was in Denver, Colorado.
Okay, yeah, it was just some people don't assume the number 7 bar is in Denver,
that's a very hard
especially
thing,
being in Chicago. You're just it's got to be here.
You got all the shit. No, Chicago has probably the number at the time. It had the number 1, 2, and 3. On that list.
Yeah.
Denver had number 7. There was Chicago had a couple had 3 or 4 above Denver, and then you had New York with a couple, and then LA. But Denver had one on the map, and that was it. And that's where I learned. That's where it sparked. And I started out bar backing. It's like open mic.
So you didn't work service industry in South Carolina?
Not at all. That was something new. Like I didn't start doing service industry until I was 23. Until I moved to Denver.
No, okay. So you just grew up in South Carolina, then you moved to Denver.
Yeah, no. So it's a long story actually. I grew up in South Carolina, and by the time and it wasn't really like growing up, man. It was a tough one for me because I came up from a little small shit town, and I got into a lot of trouble. You know, my mother died when I was young, and my father was very absent. Not like he was physically present. He took care of business, but he never gave me any real advice. He never gave me any really life advice. He couldn't really help me with any real problems I was going through. He couldn't even help himself, really. You know, I didn't realize that now, but it didn't matter at the time. At the time, it didn't really matter to me because I had so much freedom to do whatever the fuck I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I got into a lot of fucking trouble. And then I found my way out of it. I got I got put on probation, and during my time on probation, I got my GED. I got into tech school and I graduated, but I just couldn't get the job that I went to school for, and it was very discouraging. And
what is tech school? What do you mean?
Tech school, it's like where you go, like trade school. You learn like a trade. I went to tech school to learn how to be a welder.
No, okay, all right. Because when you said tech school, I was like, you know how to program, and you're out here fucking around.
Trade school.
Yeah, all right. No, all right. So you know how to weld. I know there's a
weld.
comedian that welds. I don't know if she makes good living or anything, but it does seem like you can make a good living with it.
You can, absolutely, if you want to do it.
Is it hard to get into?
It's not hard to get into. You just gotta want to do it, and it was just something I didn't really want to do it. I did a lot of things just because I knew other people were doing it, and people were they were and it had a bright future. It painted a good future, but so I went there and I did it and I graduated. I did well, actually. I did very well in it. But when it came to the real world, and I was also 18 years old. What the fuck do you know when you're 18? And what is your driving? I'm I'm still a felon at this point. I'm still a felon now. I'm a felon. I'm a real felon.
Yeah.
Then,
you gotta get a good enough Jewish lawyer. You can get that taken away.
I don't give a fuck about it. I don't give a shit. And then but yeah, that was then it was, I tried to get a job welding, and nobody wants to hire an 18-year-old felon for their company. It was very discouraging.
But the one thing I know, the restaurant industry and the trades are places where a lot of people who have had charges or caught some cases, they can find work regularly, especially in the restaurant business. But I figured the trade business as well. Like if you were like a welder or a bricklayer, I'm pretty sure they're just like, hey, you're not gonna steal from this construction site,
right?
We need you.
But that also comes. That's why your age is very important. Because if you see somebody who's who say they're 28 in the same position, they just got out of jail, they're on probation, they want to better themselves.
I think I know where you're going with this. So because
it's different. There's a level. There's
because you're young and they look at you like you got time to fuck up again.
Yeah,
The 28-year-old is trying to get his life together.
Yeah, 28-year-old's got his head in a different place.
I feel like
you're 18, you're fucking off the chain, man.
Sometimes if you're 18 and you're scared straight though, you're like, I'm not about to do that shit again.
Right.
What the fuck?
Nobody's gonna take that at face value though. You got to really show them, and nobody's really gonna give you that chance.
Oh, shit.
It's hard to get a chance when you're 18. So that with that being said, I knew that it was really challenging to turn around in my hometown after all those years of fucking up. And then being known as just this royal fuck up.
But you were in a small. It sounds like you were in a small town.
Absolutely.
You weren't in what's the biggest town in South Carolina?
Columbia.
Columbia is the biggest city? Is that the capital?
That is the capital.
Okay. It's something about a state where the biggest.
Charleston is the most popular.
That's what I'm saying.
Or Greenville. If everybody.
You always hear people talk about Charleston though.
Right.
So the first one you named, which one has the biggest population?
Columbia.
Okay, yeah, it's something about states where when the capital has all the population, it's a little bit different.
Right.
But I like that though because that's where all the decisions are made. I don't like the big city being away from where important shit happens.
Right.
Because I'm a protester. I'm a real protester though, not that goofy shit that happened 2 years ago. I'm talking.
You're not caring with the BLM sign.
Yeah, with people who don't. Yeah, all those. I was just thinking about that bullshit today. It's some comedians that went to the BLM concert protest with a camera.
Right.
And they took pictures. And it's like, no, man, that's not the move.
They want you to know that they want the world to know that they're supporting the movement, and that's not.
No, man. When I go out and do some shit, I don't want no cameras on me because
Right.
it's time for real shit to go down. So it's like, no, we're not doing that.
I'm behind that.
Yeah, that's why it's like you got to keep people in check. It's checks and balances. That's why public officials' addresses are public and shit. And you know, motherfuckers come to your house to show up. You know, like that video 2 years ago. They arrested this mother who was when they were telling people they can't go outside, and this mother was at a park with her kids, and they arrested her in front of her kids. And then that Ted Bundy guy and some people came to that officer's house and gave him a piece of paper about rights. And he was just like, "Hey, man, fuck what the government is saying. We're people. We know each other, and we came to your house. We're not taking this shit from you." I like that shit. It's like more people need to do that. Like, hey, you're not about to arrest a mother outside at a park when there's people murdering people and all kinds of theft going on. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Got their priorities fucked up, man.
Yeah, and it was just that whole shit. That's the only thing I have a lot of things to say about Northside Chicago. Northside Chicago mostly sucks. It's just because this is not the same Chicago that it used to be. It's a lot of suburb people.
I've heard Chicago has changed dramatically.
No, it remember, on Saturday Night Live, the Bears.
Yeah.
You can just watch that shit and just be like, the same type of people don't live here no more. It's not the Dub Bears people. It's people who always grew up in these ritzy ass suburbs, but then now they're here paying $2,000 a month for an apartment, and they're trying to tell you they're from Chicago, but they can't tell you anything about Chicago or where to go, where not to go.
Right.
Definitely, when they just say don't go to the South Side, that's how you know you're talking to a racist person. Like those white people who used to live in Chicago would go anywhere, and they'll just be like, "Oh yeah, just don't go over here." They'll tell you specifically where not to go, but then they're not. There's no place in, I feel like, old Chicago where those people would tell you not to go unless it was like dire, like it's dangerous over there. They wouldn't, these suburb people they'll be like, don't go to the South or West Side. Really don't even go past California.
Go to 69th and Normal Ave.
I've heard, do you know where Table Donkey and Stick is? It's a beautiful restaurant in Chicago. It's on Armitage in California.
Okay.
And one time I was serving this table with this girl, and she was with her parents, and I never heard of Longgate.
Okay.
But she was in there and she was with her parents, and then she was looking up at the ceiling. Like, you know how you can tell like somebody rich is like talking shit about the building structure? That I think that's funny too, how rich people would just be like, look at these ceilings. Look at
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? That's like
15-foot ceilings are just so low.
But that's like some shit that regular people don't do. Like rich people just look at all that, and then like sometimes I do too, because I don't want to be in no low ass place. Like we're both like tall. So, but she was just like, "Oh my God, like Mom, this is the West Side of Chicago," and like her eyes just kept looking up. This is the West Side, and I just wanted to be like, "You're in Armitage, California, and it ain't nothing west about this. It's west to you because you only go to Wrigleyville, and you don't go probably fast. You don't go any more west than Southport or Halstead."
What's the West Side? Is Pilsen the West Side?
No, I would say no, because I would say that's more Southwest side, Southwest side, not even super west. I would say West Side would be like because it's a part of the West Side where all the streets start with L's, like Lindale, and it's a part, and then it's a part where all the streets start with K's, and they call it K Town, and it's like Kedzie, whatever. Like I don't want to, and then or like it's the neighborhoods East Garfield Park, West Garfield Park. Those are West Side neighborhoods.
So I lived in the South Side for a year on 55th and Racine.
Yeah, 55th and Racine. Somebody, when you said that on stage, somebody said back of the yards.
That's the yards technically. Like,
it is? Okay.
It could be the yards. Like, I mean, your GPS will say Inglewood, but the sewers say Inglewood, and like and it's Motown. It's like I forget. Like somebody said something about Motown.
I feel like Motown is something. That's not a name that everybody uses.
Yeah, it's like some classic Chicago shit, but I gotta get back. I'll get back to you on that. I forget like this whole thing,
but I know back of the yards and Inglewood are classic Chicago neighborhoods. I don't know about Motown.
Well, it's in there.
But you know what? It just doesn't even sound like a.
It's a specific like streets.
Do you understand what I mean? How it doesn't sound like a Motown?
It doesn't sound like it would be in the South Side of Chicago. I'll tell you that.
No, or just the name doesn't sound like.
It sounds really bluesy and jazzy to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like some new shit where like these neighborhoods are old, so it sounds like some new shit. Like usually the neighborhoods are usually mean something like Pilsen, Pillman, the stockyards, and this was like the place where they killed the most cows in the Midwest and shit. Like it was like all that kind of stuff. You know, even though I don't eat a lot of meat anymore, but people love that shit. I don't know. I just applied at this steakhouse called Foco de Chao.
Okay.
It looks very interesting. It's like all you can eat meat. I'm like, who the fuck likes
Who
this?
the fuck wants colon cancer?
And then
Come on by.
when I was in there, it was so many fat suburban people in there, and I was like, all right, I guess
and
this
you're
is.
in the Midwest, dude. Like, dude, that's a cash cow right there. No pun intended, but dude,
I want to see how much they make. Hopefully
I think
it's.
they make a lot. I'm pretty sure they get some cheap ass meat to be doing all you can eat meat, bro.
Yeah, that's the thing that made me think too. Like, it can't be that much fucking meat in the world, bro.
Shit, man.
But they claim it's good. They just put sea salt on it. I don't know. I'm not gonna talk shit about it, especially if I can work there.
There's a place at River North, man, that I know of, man. They got the best steak in the Midwest. It's like 45 dry. It's like 45 days dry aged in a fucking salt cure. And yeah, and it's they have a pure black, and it's 100% pure black Angus beef, and it's like a never ever program, like no antibiotics, no hormones, like they don't pump it full of shit. They just let them do their shit.
That's pretty cool.
Free range, and they say that's the best purest fucking steak you get. I don't eat meat, so
No, I say it, and it's one of those reasons why it's like people. It'll be a reason. It'll be an obvious reason why you shouldn't be eating meat. And then, they'll ignore it to be like, this is good meat. I'm gonna get it for that reason why I shouldn't be eating meat. Because then I was gonna say, like you said, no programs. That probably when they don't do that, they let it free range and shit. And then sometimes some people would go and butcher the cow where it is on the pasture instead of leading it to this room where he's never been. And then like the cow can probably sense like, oh, it's blood on the floor. What the fuck is going down? Yeah. And then they get anxious and shit. Yeah, and then people say the meat tastes different and all that, and that's to me that's something that's very odd. Have you heard that before?
I've heard this, but just in a different way. They say like, so they say you are what you eat, right? We've all heard that before.
Yeah, but I'm not a Skittle or a Cheez-It.
Yeah. However,
because that's all I eat.
Whenever you're
Skittles and Cheez-It.
Yeah, so like what they're saying with that is when you're fucking when you're eating an animal has emotions, it has feelings. It feels fear. It feels anxiety. You know, it feels all that. And and it's depressed too. It's sad as fuck.
Yeah.
You know, it's got a sad ass life. And then and it's got this sad ass life. It's scared. It's anxious. It's depressed. And like, if you fucking kill it, and all those emotions are just all in its body, all that energy and emotion is just all throughout its body, and then you eat that. You know, and then you're consuming more than just your nutrient, your protein, whatever. Even if it is like, humanely kept, killed, whatever they want to say to make it sound better for you to buy it. You know, you're eating. It's all that fear, anxiety, and depression, and then people wonder why they're so anxious, they're so depressed, they're scared. Why? Because they don't know. They don't know what's happening, so they're fucking scared. You know, it's theoretical.
No, that is, yeah. They're technically they're the same as the meat that they eat.
Right, exactly. You are. It just goes back to that age-old saying, like, you are what you eat. You get out of your body what you put into it. That's real.
No, I think it's real 100%. Yeah, that's why we should all be vegans.
Should.
Or no, or not. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to encourage that, but I think it's something with that, and then there's
something to it. I don't think. I mean, and there's another sense that like everybody's different. See, like get back to the hunter and gatherer times. You have hunters, carnivores, or herbivores, omnivores, whatever, and then you got your gatherers, vegetarians. There's two different types.
No,
you know what I mean? And
yes.
It's important to know what type you are, and that really comes down to a lot of like, you got to try out a bunch of different diets, and you really got to try out. It just comes down to some discipline, and if you just happen to give a fuck about dieting or whatever.
Yeah, no, I think you should. And then this is another on a conspiracy thing. Certain people in certain civilizations, they would eat certain foods before they did stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I know for sure beef was like we're about to go to war. We're about to do some shit when they would eat beef.
Meat, blood.
Yeah.
All red meat.
And so it's something about a society that's always eating something that where if other societies only ate beef when they were about to go to war or do some crazy shit.
Texas,
What?
they love raw steaks, man.
But do you understand that if that was a thing back in the day, how would somebody looking at this society now when they just be like, oh, these people eat beef all the time?
Yeah, and in Florida they eat a bunch of alligator and snake and shit. And
Yeah,
possum. They wild.
but I don't know anything. I'm talking about as far as like we're eating this, telling the gods that we're about to go fuck some shit up.
Right.
So, how does that look to the gods? Like, hey, the Greeks used to eat beef and did some shit. What are y'all doing in Detroit? Just eating hamburgers. Not about to go do something.
Lame as hell, man.
Yeah, or like why are you eating? Or maybe it might be looked at like why race the cow if you're not about to go do some crazy shit or do the shit that you're supposed to do. I don't know. That's the way I look.
No, I see that right. I see exactly what you're saying. It's like, why don't you just eat a celery stalk? Why are you killing if you're not gonna kill?
Yeah, that's what what did it symbolize?
Why give yourself a taste of blood if you're not about to go out and go to war?
Yeah. To me, that's the thing where you make people do. I think we do rituals every day that people don't know. Just like this one girl I was talking to, she was talking about the birthday cake, and that's basically a spell. You're putting all that shit together, mixing shit together. It's got to cook for a minute, and then it's a circle. You putting candles on it. Everybody's around, usually holding hands, singing a song. You're in the middle, all like starry-eyed and shit, and then they're just like, make a wish. You make your own spell, say it in your head. Don't tell nobody your wish. And then blow out the candles. That's another thing too. Like, just blow the shit out.
It's all order of operation.
But do you get what I mean though? Yeah, that's some shit people do. I can't wait till my birthday so I can have a cake and blow it out in front of some strangers. Like it was.
That's a moment where you're the center of attention.
Yeah, it's that too.
It's like your moment.
But also in some rituals, you're the center of attention. We're about to eat this person's heart. Like what the fuck?
You ever been to fucking church?
Yeah, you're
the
center of attention in that shit too.
Oh man, and the pastor feeds you by hand. He feeds you out of his hand.
Oh, that's some Catholic white people shit.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know what that's
crazy. I'm a Lutheran. I was raised Lutheran.
No, but I mean, what's the difference?
So like Catholicism, I don't want to speak on that. But Lutheran.
No, you don't have to speak on it. You could just say what the difference is, and that's not. And I'm saying you won't get canceled, and that's not offensive. Saying what the difference is, you could if you just be like, this other one is gay. That's bad. But it's if you're just like explaining the difference, that's okay.
Yeah, you don't want to piss off two groups in one sentence, man.
I don't give a goddamn. Especially if you're being factual and you're explaining something to somebody, because there's a lot of people that don't know. Honestly,
yeah. Well,
you never know who could be hearing this and be like, damn, I didn't know the difference. The only thing I would say, have you ever seen this movie Blue Chips?
No.
I was like a little kid, but I got what was happening. It was supposed to be about how college basketball is rigged and people are getting paid and yada yada.
A lot of money in that shit.
But they showed the one coach, like Anthony Hardaway and Shaquille O'Neal are in this movie, and because they play some of the athletes that are being recruited with shady ways. And then part of it, the one guy who's the coach is this white guy. He's just like kind of like a shifty figure. And I just remember being a little kid. He went to this one family, and then they were just like, "You Baptist?" Or he was like, "We're Baptist or Protestant." And then the one guy was like, "We're Baptists. We don't do that Protestant bullshit. They're crazy." And he was like, "Yeah, I agree." And then they cut to him where he was trying to recruit this other kid from the other side of town. And then they were just like, he was like, "Yeah, we're about to go to church. You want to go to church with us?" Yeah. It's the other people were talking shit about they were Baptists, so they're talking shit about the Lutheran people.
Yeah.
And so when he was with the other family, and he agreed, he was like, "Yeah, that Lutheran shit is crazy." And then when he was with the other family, and they were like, "Yeah, we're about to go to church. We're Lutheran." And then they just showed him walking into the church like, "Oh yeah," and he was like very excited, showing that he was fake as fuck. Like, yeah, those people crazy. And then when he was trying to, when he was with the other people and he was trying to recruit their son, and they're like, "We're going to church," and then he went in that church like, "Yeah, hey," and it was just like. Yeah, that's what. But it just showed like it's a difference, and they talk shit about each other. But it was showing that he's a shady college coach that's willing to say anything to get your son to the college. So he'll go to any service.
Right.
He probably would have went to a Catholic church and ate the little chip or whatever the fuck. Like he would have just been like, "Hey, yeah, I grew up Catholic all my life." Like it's.
So the fucking like the bottom line, the underlying thing about being a Lutheran is like you don't believe in heaven or hell. You believe in Jesus.
Is it the one? I know one started from King James wanted to divorce his wife. It was another Bible, and then it was like it said, like I guess in the First Testament or something, like divorce is bad.
Yeah.
And so like King James or one of those people were just
But
like,
this is
no, I'm
why
about to divorce this
Lutherans are
bitch
so
and
happy.
make another thing.
Yeah. This is why Lutherans are so fucking happy, man, because they don't believe in heaven or hell. There's no afterlife to them. So this is like, this is the life. This is the life. Why the fuck am I not going to be fucking happy and enjoy myself? They don't teach you heaven or hell. They don't teach you that consequence. They teach you the 10 Commandments. But they don't say like if you jack off, you're going to go to hell. They don't tell you shit like
No,
that.
or they don't do the it seems like they don't preach anything from the First Testament. They don't do fire and brimstone.
No, it's all New Testament.
And then they probably don't tell you like I found this out too. Do you know about how churches are under a 501c3?
I have no idea what that is.
That is a tax filing thing that says you don't have to file taxes if you're under that certification.
Oh.
However, the government says you don't have to file taxes, but, and then this came out during the Bush years, they can tell you what to preach. And it was on CNN, and they stopped around like the early 2000s. A lot of churches who take the 501c3 money, they don't preach from the first, but they don't preach from the First Testament. So the First Testament, like the book of Deuteronomy specifically.
Well, that's just Judaism.
But no, but everybody, they'll have a Christian book and they'll have all that stuff. But the 501c3 churches can't do the fire and brimstone. They can't do sermons where they talk about like what not to eat, how it says like we can't eat things with hooves, you know, like shrimp and shit is unclean. If you're a 501c3, it's illegal for you to even preach from those books. Did you know that? Have you ever heard of that?
I've never even looked into that.
That is a fact.
Oh, fucking A, man.
Yeah, it was on the news. It was on CNN.
I'm not surprised, man. I know like the government is so controlling, like where every which way they can. If you know, I'm not gonna like research it and like try to disprove it, but hey, I'll take that word for it because
No, I mean, but then you said the Lutheran people, so they just they don't even tell you to be good or anything. I guess
they
they just
don't, man. They just say, hey, man, this is what you're supposed to do.
no, okay, yeah, that's
like this is how it's done. This is what it's supposed to do. There's no consequences if you don't, but they just letting you know. They give you a sense of freedom.
no, and you said that's Lutheran.
Lutheran.
What are the difference in the South? Do you think it's mostly Baptist or Lutheran?
It's
or?
all Baptist, dude. It's all
So
Baptist.
the Lutheran
So
is
the Baptist is like Lutheran. Like there's only like I went to the only Lutheran church in my hometown, and my hometown had more churches than schools.
no, okay. So you're saying that you just explained what the Lutheran people were. It's not a lot of them. It sounds like it.
It's not.
Okay, yeah, because in the South, a lot of people can't go with that
It was
bullshit.
just like one little diamond in a fucking sea of Baptist church. There wasn't even that many like Catholic churches sprinkled in. You probably had like one or two like Catholic churches sprinkled in there.
Yeah, they don't play that in the South
No,
too much.
they don't, man. It's Baptist, dude. I don't even know what being a I don't know what it means to be a Baptist. I was not raised Baptist.
No, I mean, but it's, the only thing I would say, like, I'm in the etymology of words. Some of it's in the title. I know whoever started that really was about that, like putting you, baptizing you.
Right, John the Baptist.
Yeah, but you know, it comes from baptizing. It's something along that where I guess like we believe in this order. You're probably like you got to be reborn. You know, I think they're the people who are like you're born a sinner until you declare your life to some other shit, and then you be baptized, and now you're good. But you're not good when you come out.
No,
As soon as you're born,
as soon as you're born, you're a demon.
you're fucking up.
No, you're a product of sex, man. You came out of a vagina. You gotta cleanse you.
Yeah.
You gotta cleanse that.
Yeah, that shit is, to me, that's preposterous. Saying that you were born just fucking up.
Yeah.
This is like that's
like
terrible.
You were born into sin.
Yeah, you were just born. You were just bad.
You were created from sex, so that's the immediate red flag. Yeah, hey, fucking religion sucks, man.
Yeah, some of it.
I can't get a grip on it. I can't wrap my brain around it, man.
The one thing that frustrates me, I really think the religion that is taught to us is not. It's not what we should be doing. That's why it makes people fight.
You know what I think religion? I think religion is something you find. I don't think religion should be forced. I don't think if you're like a child, you and your parents like throw you into church like many parents did. Throw you into church because they think that's the right thing to do because that's what they do and they think they're good people.
Yeah.
But like
No, that's brainwashing.
Yeah, exactly. But they're already brainwashed. So like they're acting as such.
No, but that's what it takes. People like us to be smart enough to break those generational curses.
Here's my thing on religion. I believe religion is religion needs to find you. I think you need to find Jesus. I think you need to find Allah, or they find you. I don't knock people. I don't knock religion at all. I don't. But I believe, yeah, it's just something higher you need to grip onto to like cope with the fact that you're gonna die. Like whatever.
Yeah. No. Have you ever? It's a rapper named KRS-One.
Okay.
He's an old school rapper. He talked about, because a lot of people are confused about what Freemasonry is. They always hear that term and never understand it.
A secret society.
Yeah, or they just go to that kind of bullshit where he was just like, basically Freemasonry, or especially back in the day. And then he just put it in very layman's terms. He said Freemasonry was math, science, geometry, and religion all as one subject. You know how you go to school, you go to math for like an hour. The other people,
astronomy and shit in there.
But no, but not all. You're adding a whole bunch of stuff. He was saying that it was like how it would be different things. He's saying Freemason was all that shit into one, and that's what that is. And so I think if there is a religion, I think there is. I think there's only one religion, but it's just like math. You know how math 2 + 2 is all, but yeah, 2 + 2 does equal 4.
It's always going to be 4.
So I think it's something to where like if me and you, it's me, you, and then we get an Asian guy. It's some religious thing where I'm pretty sure it's one guy where he's just like, hey, I love all y'all. You know, it's just, it ain't no like you're doing certain. I think it's one thing, and I think the powers that be give people different ways to pray, so we can all be separated. Yeah. And nobody will really have a true answer because it's all vague, so we can argue over some vague shit. Yeah. But I think it's like more. It might not even be the term Freemasonry, but like how he said, it's religion, the math, all into one. And you know, like math always adds up. Geometry always adds up.
Numbers don't lie.
Yeah, and I think it's something. I think it's something about spirituality or something like that is a part of numbers. How numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
I think it's all in the one. It's all one thing to where like you can do this and prove this to God, just like 2 + 2 is 4. Right. That's what I think. Yeah. But I think the powers that be keep us distracted with goofy shit, and then the one thing, you know,
there's
like
a lot of devil out there in the world.
Yeah, it's just a lot of stupid shit that's going on. Just like now, it's I forgot what's going on. Yeah, the Joe Biden's giving out crack pipes. Did you see that?
I don't know, man. Where's mine?
Yeah, it was to me it was something. I think that's a huge ass distraction because that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
I've never, and then I never.
What else is going on?
But and then like, I'm not and I just know as far as junkie culture, it was like people who use needles need needles. I've never heard people say we need crack pipes.
You know, you can buy a crack pipe anywhere, any corner store, any bodega, whatever. But you can't. It's not called a crack pipe. It's called a glass rose.
Yeah, no.
So like you go in there, you get a glass rose, and it comes with the whole. I don't know. You can buy these in my hometown when growing up in certain stores, but it'd be a whole kit. It was called the glass rose. It was a sealed plastic. You had the glass crack stem, and you had a little fake rose in there, and you even had the Brillo pad in there with it too.
That's funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's not because
fucking hilarious.
Because I have some cannabis pipes that I was like, this looks like a crack pipe. I don't know about this.
Chillum?
Yeah, like chillums and stuff. I have one long chillum that they were like, he was calling it a glass blunt, and I was like, no, this is just a long chillum.
Wiz Khalifa has that thing. It's a glass blunt. You pack it in there, and you put this corkscrew.
Yeah, it was like a squirt. No, it wasn't anything like that.
And it rolls in it. That's Wiz Khalifa's glass blunt.
It wasn't.
That's what he's talking
this
about.
Thing was just a chillum where he was like, you load this one in. It would just be a long ass chillum, and then it'll get dirty as fuck. You can't. I did it one time. I was like, this isn't practical, and then you didn't even know it was whack. But that's very interesting. A glass rose, but I'm just saying it's. But I think it's a distraction for the government to say we're giving out free crack pipes when I've never heard of crackheads saying, hey man, this is a pandemic. We need crack pipes to stay safe.
Right.
Like, so it was.
Yeah, that's just goofy as hell.
Yeah, to me it seems like I really feel like it's an alien invasion, like really about to happen.
There's something happening, and like, dude, remember in 2020 when they when the fucking news was just like aliens exist.
Yeah, they just
during the middle of the pandemic, and they were just like, and like nobody gave a shit.
No, that's what I think. I think it's one of those things because they already scared us with the pandemic.
Yeah.
So then they were just.
Greased us. It's just like, all right, yeah, you're in pandemic, you're in quarantine. You're in quarantine, sorry. And it's just like, hey, by the way, hey, y'all know aliens exist, right?
Yeah, and
They were just so low. It was just like not even a spike. Don't even care.
to me, it's and then they're lying because aliens been living for thousands of years.
And
They've been like visiting this planet for thousands of years.
I think they're protecting us. Personally, I think we're a protected species, and they're just like watching our shit unfold because we have a great planet. Why the fuck is like not a superior race trying to take our planet from us? Because it's a good planet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes and no.
And we're not, and like as humans, dude, we're not technologically advanced at all, and we're not physically advanced. We're weak, like as far as like the grand scheme of things, man. Like we're weak, dude. Like our weaponry is just like is like up to like just nuclear physics.
No, you're saying humans have to use tools. Like if we had to live in a world
we
with
got ballistics, and we got like nuclears.
yeah.
Nuclear weapons.
Yeah, or like if we, just like living in the forest with lions and tigers and bears. If we don't have a stick that's sharp, we're gonna get fucked up.
Or just the technical combat, just the combat technical, just the combat intelligence.
That's a sharp stick.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna need it.
Combat intelligence to do that too. Like,
yeah.
Nobody has that these days. No civilian has that shit.
Certain people.
Certain people.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, as like a species, as a human species, I think we are fucking weak.
Yeah. Yes and no. I just know it's the one thing that gets me. Whoever's on top, they rule by a lot of deception. And to me, you're not a real ruler if everybody's tricked, if everybody's under some kind of lie or under some kind of illusion.
You gotta scare them, man. That's how you gotta incorporate fear. You gotta incorporate fear, and you gotta be unpredictable.
That is different and more respectable than delusions.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said you can use fear. Like you're not.
At least fear is pretty forward.
No, or yeah. Like I said, like
it's not like underlying. It's like, yo, if you don't do this, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah, like where you see somebody's sword.
Yeah.
Instead where somebody like makes it a game and you can kind of do this if you want to, and then maybe something might happen to you, and then maybe something might not happen to you. Right. It's your decision. Like that type of stupid shit. It's like, no, you're doing this. But then at the same time, the people, because like studying societies, you got to lie to people to keep people from coming at you. When you lie, then the people who want to take
you anymore.
No, but I mean like say you're in control.
Turn on
if you're Yeah, if you're in control of a lot of people,
you lie to the masses, and you lie to the masses, dude. The masses will turn on you.
Yeah, but sometimes you keep lying and you keep being deceptive, so you can't get people to where you're at. Like earlier, how I said I like how public officials know where they live.
Yeah,
it's some people who want to rule and they don't want you to know where they live.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but it's not good for society. We got to know where you're at because you know where I'm at.
You got to know where Lori Lightfoot lives, bro.
Yeah, she's
Logan Square.
Yeah, she's around the corner, man, and she's trash. It's just ridiculous. That shit's bad for business. Everything she's doing is bad for business. A mandate is bad for business. I was talking with this girl because sometimes girls, people make fun of, and then this is the thing. I feel like back in the day, Chicago people didn't talk shit about Indiana and Wisconsin people. They just they came into town and they were like, "Oh, you're from Indiana? Oh yeah." But these suburban motherfuckers are like, "Oh, I hate people from Wisconsin. They're basic. I hate people from Indiana." And then I had to snap on this, because then she was like, "This mandate's good." And I snapped on this girl. I was just like, no. Some of those people work hard as fuck all week in Indiana at their little job, and then they want to come to Chicago and spend $500 somewhere just because. And then they want to brag about it. They're going to talk about it all month, how they took their girl to Chicago, they went to a restaurant, spent $300.
That's a flex, bro.
But you know what I'm saying? Like when you, with a mandate, you take that away. You take that business away from that random dude that's like, "Hey, we ain't doing that. Let's drive 40 minutes into Chicago."
Sounds like a night to me.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like a lot of those people are elsewhere, or they're going to the suburbs or something like that.
They support that because it doesn't affect them directly. People are their own perception, is an illusion, because they're so biased because of their own views. Like that person who's probably like who supports the mandate. I don't know who supports the fucking mandate, but like
a lot of these fucking go along. It's a lot of these fake. I just hate these fake liberal people in Chicago. It's just, maybe it's some real liberal people in Illinois, but in Chicago, it's not liberal. It's just
fashionable. It's
Yeah,
fashionable,
that's it.
man.
It's fashionable, but it's
Yeah.
as soon as the minority's not doing what they want, then they just get racist.
That's like this whole like that like with like last year the whole Black Lives Matter thing. I thought that was a very fashionable thing.
To
for
me,
a
that
lot of
shit was
people
annoying.
Yeah, I thought people like I was like because it was like you've never seen so many people out on the streets marching, but it's just like dude, once this is all over, like y'all gonna forget about it.
Yeah, it was.
Y'all gonna forget about this so fast.
To me, it wasn't real because it wasn't happening in southern states,
Right.
and that's where people really do shit.
Yeah.
And so it was just like you said, it was fashionable. And then I told this one girl like, and then like it was a lot of fake riots. It was like rioting, like dude, I worked at a brewery that was near a quote unquote. It was people robbing dispensaries, and near my brewery, when you Google dispensaries, this place showed up, but it was just a cannabis workshop. It wasn't a dispensary, but it said it was a dispensary on Google Maps. Did you know when they shut down the city? Like 20 cars pulled up and broke in the windows and went in there because they thought it was weed in there. And then to me, that's something that's not protesting. That's an organized
That's an
gang.
organized crime, man. Yeah, they were trying to make some money, man. They're turning profits, man.
But bro, and then like the one thing that got me though, because then they didn't know exactly which window it was. So it was like me and my friends, we were working, and I just remember this cook named Franco was like, "What the fuck?" And then these two cars blocked the street. They blocked the street. And then 3 cars drove up on the curb where our restaurant was. It was the restaurant, a place in between. It was a restaurant, sushi place, and then a dispensary. And then the first people that got out of the car were the people dressed in all black. They had goggles on. They were the smashers. They went in all the windows and they looked at our shit. And then when they saw the dispensary, then they waved the other people over. And then, because I was with this whole, but listen, yes, this happened in broad daylight at 5:45 p.m. I forgot the date, but it was 5:45 p.m. But listen, it was I can tell you because it was like they were all in waves. How the first people were on all black tight clothes. They had crowbars so they can break the glass, and then everybody else was just like dressed regularly. And then like one of the last people. It was just funny because it was this like this big overweight girl. She had a bag. Her stomach was hanging out of her shirt.
Sexy.
And she was like laughing while she was running back to the car like, hoo, hoo, hoo. And then like, but I looked at it in military waves. I looked at it like those first motherfuckers were the Marines. They broke the glass, called in the army, and then this fat bitch running around with a bag is like the Air Force. You know, it was just like everybody was here. But that
cargo plane, bro.
Yeah, but that fat bitch wasn't one of the first people to get out. Like she was under instructions, like you keep your fat ass in the car until the windows get broke, and then you come outside. And that's what it was. Way too organized. It was not no protest, and it was definitely not for some injustice.
Hey, no, people sleep on thugs, man. No, that's a very militant organization, man.
But to me, my thing was like thugs don't even act like that in their own neighborhood. They're not that organized in the neighborhood sometimes. That shit was beyond us. It was something that was very like organized on
mastermind. There's a mastermind behind it, man.
And then I was telling people sometimes you can't get 20 people together for a family reunion. It was like 50 people who were in on this.
Promise people some money, man. They'll show up.
But that's what I'm saying, though. This was like organized on the internet. Yeah. This was not no like they killed George Floyd. Let's rob all the dispensaries. It was like
man,
no, it was like hella organized.
I got a fucking theory on that shit too, man. Like like I felt like because like the whole like 2020 thing, man, to me was just one big conspiracy just playing out. Because like I'm not gonna say like the fucking coronavirus ain't real, but like when the
it's not in the crack community.
You know what I mean? But yeah. The sequencing of how that happened, man. They fucking what did they do? They fucking they took our jobs. They took our jobs. They locked us in the house. They kept us in the house for like 90 days, roughly 90 days, man. When we all started going crazy, and then then a cop kills a black man, and then everyone fucking just
no, or kind of like
I feel like the sequence of that was just like
no, or I want to say what you're probably not articulating. They had people in the house. People were getting antsy. People were about to leave the house no matter what. They didn't give a fuck what was going on. Then they orchestrate this murder and put it on TV. And then they're like, oh, you got to, then it gives people a reason to be outside. When if that didn't happen, motherfuckers would have just been outside like, fuck you in these dumbass rules. They had to orchestrate and say it was a murder. Protest this murder.
Yeah.
And then it's okay for y'all to be outside protesting murder, but you can't go to a restaurant and eat
Yeah.
You can't do that, but you can be outside and protesting and be around a million motherfuckers for some reason.
Yeah, that's a better way of what I was just trying to say.
No, I'm aware of that shit because it's one of the things that annoys me, the powers that be, and I'm glad that there's some white people who realize it and they pick on race. They'll use race and they'll divide people with that and they'll get people arguing
It's really
over
easy
it.
to do.
It's easy to do with some people. That's why I'm very proud that I'm one of the smarter voices to where I talk to people, let them know.
I try to look past all the fucking the media.
No, but I let people know like this is not a race thing. This is a distraction thing. This is this or this is this. Because there's some people, and then especially up here, I just don't like dealing with the fake. It's a lot of microaggression. Like I really believe, and I'm glad this is on tape. A lot of these fucking Northside comedians are racist, but they'll deal with you if you're gay or if you're willing to give them something. If they can take some shit from you, then they'll let you be around.
Benefit them in any way, if it can benefit their social media clout.
Yeah, and it's basically that, and it's been a lot of.
Look at me with this gay person.
It's been a lot of.
Like, hey.
It's a lot of dumbass comedians like, oh, your opinions online. I don't like your opinions because you can't use me as a puppet, as some kind of black puppet. Like, hey, look at this nigga. He agreed with everything I say. Let me show you his page. Right. And then if I'm going over there, and then they go on my page and I say fuck Joe Biden, then I gotta X this out. This ain't what I thought.
Yeah.
So like,
you can't renege on that, man.
that's how I can tell. It was like I can tell they look at me and they know they can't get anything out of me. I'm my own person. And they're just like, fuck that.
They hate you for that shit too.
That's the one thing I don't respect about northern fake liberal people, where they got to get something out of you. I feel like, and then I was talking to I forgot. I don't want to say Brandon Kiefer. I forgot his name. He's from a guy from Georgia.
Sure, yeah.
And he was just like, yeah. He was like, I noticed that where the people up here they just kind of want to see what they can get out of a black person, and then they turn rogue when they can't get nothing. Where a white guy from the South is just like. It's like it is what it is up front. It's not let me see. It's not let me see if you know more about cars than I do, and then if you don't, then I'm talking shit. It's just kind of like, what you doing here? And it ain't no like, let me see if this person's gay. I'm gonna get him to lick my butt and then tell them to leave, because that's how these motherfuckers are up here. That's all they want. I'm telling you, man. When
I'm
they
gonna get it on camera too.
Yeah, but when they figure out they can't get anything out of you in any kind of way, that's when they turn bad. But it's always, I can tell it's salty. And it, like, especially when they look at me, it's salty because they realize, like, damn, this motherfucker's smart.
Damn,
I can't.
He's a free thinker, bro. Fuck.
Yeah, I can't take shit from him. And then I can't just walk up to him and say, hey, slavery and George Floyd, and then make me talk for 2 hours. Because some of them want that shit.
Yeah, they want to record you while you do it, too.
Yeah, that's all. They just want to, like, they'll use a buzzword, a racial buzzword, and then stand back. Or this one guy I love, I don't know if you, because, like, you've been through a lot of trials and tribulations where you didn't have answers. So I look for other people and like, oh, that's a good answer. Like, or other mentors. They might not be personally mentoring you, but you'll just be like, that's some real shit.
Yeah. You take what you can from other people.
Yeah, and this guy named Kevin Samuels, and he just talked about how certain white people play the game where they say racial shit to black people, and it's just some black people just have a self-destruct button. You might know where it's just like somebody might call you an N-word, and then they go, who the fuck you talking to?
Yeah, it's completely lose composure.
Yeah. No, he called it the self-destruct button. That's what was so cold when he was just like, and he was like, you make a lot of people mad when you take the self-destruct button out of your shit.
Yeah. That's your trigger. You don't have a trigger, then you remove your trigger. Like, people have nothing to push, they have nothing to pull, and then they don't get any reaction out of you, and they're just, and that's
like
ironically that's their trigger.
And then, like during 2020, this one comedian just walked up to me, and this other comedian that's not black, but he looks black, but he was just like, so what's this stuff with Nick Cannon and Farrakhan? Like, what? He didn't even say a real sentence. He didn't even give a real question. Like, he didn't.
Farrakhan, and we still talk
but
about Nick Cannon?
He didn't say like he didn't say what did he say. He didn't say what's the commotion. He didn't have a full statement at all. He just said Nick Cannon, Farrakhan.
Just trigger words.
Yeah, and then he wanted to
see if you think you go off.
He wanted to see if I was pressing self-destruct button. And then the one comedian that's pretending to be a black comedian, he said some shit that white people
pretending to be a black comedian.
Yeah, he's only it's only when he can like say like some stereotypical shit about black people. But other than that, he'll distance himself. He's like, I'm not black. When it's something good, he says he's not black. When it's a good or positive thing, he's not black. But if it's something ratchet, then it's like, yeah, because niggas do that all the time. He's one of those kind of people where it's just like, get the fuck out of here. But it was just I noticed that somebody you're just gonna walk up to me and say, "What's up with Nick Cannon and Farrakhan?" I'm like, "What?" And then I wanted to be like, "Why do you even care? Why do you care? These are two people that you don't listen to. I know you don't listen to Farrakhan. I don't give a fuck about Nick Cannon. What do you?" And then like I low key don't give a fuck about Nick Cannon. Why do you? What the hell? What is this? And I got all the respect in the world for Mr. Cannon, but I don't watch that show. I don't listen to his music. I don't know what he's doing. I wish him the best though. He wears nice suits. That's what his suits fit. But
Is he still with Mariah Carey?
No, he's doing his own thing. See what I'm saying? But yeah, it was that self-destruct shit, man. I don't I noticed that shit with these people up here, and it's just it's sickening, bro. It's sickening.
Yeah, man, you gotta remove that self-destruct button, man.
No, it's already gone. Where now I just talk shit to the people.
I'm not talking about you. No.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I know. Yeah, I'm just saying for the mass public.
Yeah, for the
gotta get rid of that button.
For the non-talented comedians on the north side.
Oh man, you can't be self-destructive and be a comedian, man. Then you just wouldn't. You can't just blow up on stage. You'd be like Kramer, man.
Yeah, it was, and then that's funny. Somebody just gave because I'm always looking at all the things. What he said was racist and bogus, but then this one person put it in perspective that I never thought about, and he was just talking about how like back in the like you talked about in the '90s, it was like once comedians were superstars, and people if you were on a TV show, you were like a super duper star because that's all people had. And so, like, when you were on stage, people didn't heckle you, especially Seinfeld. Yeah. That was, like, one of the biggest shows, even though people from my community didn't watch that shit.
Yeah, it still is.
But it was,
it's still renowned.
But you got to listen. He was saying, like, in the 90s, when Kramer went on stage, motherfuckers stopped what they were doing and was just, like, silent. And he never got any kind of pushback. Everything he said was funny as hell. Yeah. And then he goes, he's not on stage for like 10 plus years. And then now he's in a new era where people got cell phones and shit. And he's getting heckled by some dudes on the side who probably didn't grow up watching Seinfeld like that. That's not going to be, because all the other Seinfeld people they would just be looking at you like, it's him. Yeah, and so he just snapped because he was like, "Oh, these motherfuckers ain't laughing. What the fuck?" And it was like, this is not like how it was when I started comedy. When I started comedy, motherfuckers were quiet because they worshiped me. Yeah. Now I'm just
it messes you up in the head, man.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It was like somebody said it like that, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's different." Because he was talking about how I was in the '90s and shit. The one thing I don't doing comedy, I don't know how it would be because I record my sets, and I like to listen to them and shit. I don't know what older comedians did back in the day, like people from in the '60s and the '70s and shit.
Journaled that shit, man.
You have a journal, but like you don't go like, "How did I sound last night?" Remember, or like you be talking to your friends. What did that fat bitch say that everybody laughed? You know how sometimes people say stuff. Look at your shirt, and somebody might laugh like his shirt is funny, and then the next day you'll be like, "What did she say? Did I get her good? I felt like I got her good."
Another thing about making people laugh is actually an art. It also has to depend on how they feel. You got to feel. That's why it's important to like feel the room, know the room, to know what to say, know how the room responds.
Yeah.
Because like I haven't been doing comedy long. I've been open micing for like pretty consistently for about 8 months now, 7-8 months.
That's what I was just about to ask you, and then I was going to ask you how do you try to hit a certain mic limit? Like how many times do you go on stage a week?
I go on stage a week probably about like right now currently between like 4 to 6.
That's dope.
If I can hit like 2 mics in a night, then I will.
That's amazing. And then that's the one thing I want to move away from Chicago and be in a better city, but it has to be Austin or maybe New York because we got to still be hitting these mics. Any other city, they don't have the opportunity we have.
Exactly. Yeah, I didn't like. That's So like I've always been a fan of comedy my whole entire life ever since I was a child. My first favorite comedian was Ron White back in the blue collar days. You know what I mean? Like I was like fucking 9 years old listening to this motherfucker, man. He's funny as fuck.
Yeah.
But anyway, man, like and then I started doing it. Then I actually get into comedy and start doing it. You know, I feel like I skipped a bunch of steps because like I started when I was like 30 and not when I was 20.
Yeah.
So like I know how the world is. And I feel like as long as I just like show up and just like tell my stories, tell my shit, and prove it on the way, and just get better, I forgot. I had a point to this, man. I forgot. But It's like this comedy thing is just still so new to me.
Yeah, because I asked you how many times you went on stage and whatnot, and you were just like, yeah, when I started. I just know in any other cities they don't have as many mics as we have, and it's just kind of like, last night, Tito.
Chicago, yeah, that was it. Like there's just like this the opportunity in Chicago is just amazing. Just the availability, just just every day of the week you can like get on this Chicago Open Mics Instagram page and just find a mic and put your name down and get on there.
Yeah, or like last night,
yeah.
Tito said, because Tito just recently went to Nashville with another comedian. And he said he was talking to some of the comedians down there. And he was like, "How many mics do you guys have?" He said one guy was like about 6.
Yeah,
he said
that's chill. That's what I do.
But no. I mean, but he said that's all they have is 6. Like technically, we have 30 a week. If you count, it's like 5 on Monday.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you count all those mics, it's like 30. You can hit like 2 or 3 a night. Where in Nashville or whatever, you can hit it's 1 a night. You know what I mean? That's what I thought was just kind of shitty.
At least they have it every night.
Yeah,
That's another thing.
But then that might not even be the case. I think Nashville might be a little bit better because it's a performance town. So it's got to be always a stage where somebody's doing something so you could be able to do your comedy. But I'm talking about those other, people come from Tampa Bay, Miami. I feel like Savannah doesn't have a lot of shit going on. You got to drive to Atlanta.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm naming other big cities.
You gotta even
in Denver, Colorado.
You even gotta go to. Well, Colorado is actually I feel like I think Dave Chappelle had a thing in Colorado. He had a starting in Colorado.
Maybe it's probably.
But Denver actually does have a comedy scene. It's not like you would in Chicago because it's a significantly smaller city.
Yeah, they don't have no 2 mics a night type of shit at all.
But they do have comedy. There is comedy there. There's improv there too.
Okay, no, I'm feeling it. And then we didn't want to be that long because you said you want to go to a microphone tonight.
Yeah, I want to hit a couple. Yeah, there's Gold Star. There's a Gold Star bar at
Yeah, we don't gotta advertise everybody's shit. They're not paying us, so that's the number one thing.
I feel that.
No, yeah, they're not paying us, and yeah.
Just in case you want to come check me out.
Yeah. So no, where can everybody find you on the Instagram? So hold on one second, I gotta hit the music. And then I messed up. Last episode we established. I'll stop that. Last episode we established this was the crack song. If somebody was talking about crack cocaine, so this still is.
You missed it.
Damn, and I was supposed to hit this when we talked about the crack cocaine. This is the crack cocaine song, so it's still there. So
when I bring up next time when I bring up the 80s, be ready to.
To hit this button, and then this sounds like, and then like you hear it when the beat drops. It's very like smooth, and you can talk about like how it was. See, like okay, this is how it used to be back in the 80s.
Yeah, I used to hit you immediately.
Yeah,
That's the shit they used to suck dick for.
Jesus, no. Or you have enough money, you don't got to do that. But yeah, well, no, we're not doing that one. So we're about to end this. You were here for another edition of the Slider Cast. This is DJ Slider Bite. And so where can they find you? I was here with Gregory Howell. Where can they find you? Is it Gregory Howell or Greg Howell? Or G Howell, G-H?
G Howell, G Money. You can find me on Instagram. Just type in Gregory Howell, just like it sounds, or Gregaris Rex, at Gregaris Rex.
That's funny. Okay.
Just like it sounds.
All right. No, that's dope. And then you can find me, DJ Sliderbite, at DJ Sliderbite on like almost everything. I'm trying to just, even if I'm not using the shit, I just need to take the DJ Sliderbite name just to have it. So, but I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on TikTok. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Yeah, that's the big 3 right now. And then you can find us because you got to be listening to this somewhere. I don't know how the fuck you're listening to this and you don't know where to find it, but you can find the podcast on everything, Spotify and iTunes and all the other little things too. I pay for the iTunes though, so maybe listen to that. But yeah, this is and this is an open source. This episode was 100% open source, or is 100% open source. So this is DJ Slider Bite. It is an episode of Slider Cast, and then y'all have a great night. Y'all be safe.